She was born in Kiev, Ukraine on October 3rd, 2008. Just another child in a musical household. But few could have predicted the global impact she would soon have. At just 6 years old, Karolina Protsenko and her family made a life-changing decision to move to the United States in search of greater opportunities. They settled in Simi Valley, California. Her parents, Nikolai and Ella, both professional musicians, created an environment where music wasn't just background noise. It was the family's first language. Surrounded by melodies of piano and guitar, Karolina's path into music was practically written from the start. She wasn't alone either. Alongside two younger brothers, her childhood was shaped by harmony, both literal and emotional. And as we would soon discover, this young girl wasn't just born into music, she was made to lead it. Soon after arriving in California, Karolina stepped out, not into a classroom or onto a small recital stage, but onto the busy streets of Santa Monica. The 3rd Street Promenade became her arena. Armed with a violin and a smile, she turned ordinary afternoons into moments of wonder. Her performances weren't just good. They were magnetic. Crowds gathered, strangers filmed, and the internet noticed. Even European saxophonist Daniele Vitali dubbed her the Busking sensation. It wasn't long before Karolina's name went global. With her classical technique and pop sensibility, she transformed street corners into viral stages. And she hadn't even turned 10. From sidewalk to screen, Karolina took her artistry to YouTube, and the world responded. One of her first viral videos, a violin cover of My Heart Will Go On, spread like wildfire. Millions watched, then tens of millions. Today, Karolina manages 3 YouTube channels. One for violin covers, one for personal vlogs, and another for vocal performances. Her renditions of Despacito, Believer, Shallow, and Love Me Like You Do draw tens of millions of views each. Each video is more than a performance. It's a moment, carefully crafted and emotionally delivered. She had officially arrived, but this was only the beginning. In 2019, her reach extended beyond the internet when she was invited to appear on the Ellen DeGeneres show. There, she performed Sunflower by Post Malone, stunning the audience into silence, then applause. Ellen gifted her a custom blue violin and a specially designed tip jar, honoring Karolina's dream of saving for a puppy. But perhaps her most emotional moment came years later on the Kelly Clarkson show, when she was surprised on stage by her idol, Lindsey Stirling. The meeting was heartfelt and unscripted, and then a once-in-a-lifetime moment, a live duet. The young fan stood alongside her hero, 2 violins, 1 stage, and a room full of goosebumps. In 2019, her reach extended beyond the internet when she was invited to appear on the Ellen DeGeneres show. There, she performed Sunflower by Post Malone, stunning the audience into silence, then applause. Ellen gifted her a custom blue violin and a specially designed tip jar, honoring Karolina's dream of saving for a puppy. But perhaps her most emotional moment came years later on the Kelly Clarkson show, when she was surprised on stage by her idol, Lindsey Stirling. The meeting was heartfelt and unscripted, and then a once-in-a-lifetime moment, a live duet. The young fan stood alongside her hero, 2 violins, 1 stage, and a room full of goosebumps. In a world overflowing with digital distractions, it's rare to find a young talent who can stop people in their tracks. But that's exactly what Karolina Protsenko does with a violin in her hands. At just a teenager, Karolina has become an internet sensation, mesmerizing millions across the globe with her soulful renditions of modern hits and timeless classics. Born on October 3rd, 2008 in Kiev, Ukraine, Karolina's story is not one of overnight success, but of quiet dedication, rich musical roots, and the relentless pursuit of passion. Her journey took a pivotal turn in 2015, when her family moved from Ukraine to the United States in search of broader opportunities. Settling in Simi Valley, California, the Protsenko family brought with them a deep love for music. Both of Karolina's parents, Nikolai and Ella, are trained musicians, creating a home that echoed with melodies and nurtured creativity. Surrounded by piano and guitar tunes since childhood, Karolina picked up the violin and instantly connected with the instrument. What followed was years of honing her skills through both self-exploration and formal lessons. dispelling the myth that she was entirely self-taught. Though her talent is undeniably natural, she studied under professional instructors, including Mr. Sam Fisher, to sharpen her technique and build a foundation in classical music. From an early age, Karolina showed a discipline and emotional depth rare for someone so young. She wasn't just learning music, she was living it, channeling every note with purpose. That dedication blossomed into a growing online presence. Her performances, first shared on the bustling streets of Santa Monica's 3rd Street Promenade, quickly found their way to YouTube and social media, where her heartfelt playing struck a chord with global audiences. Within months, she was no longer just a street performer. She was a rising star, a young virtuoso redefining what it means to share music in the digital age. As Karolina's presence began to grow beyond street corners and local gatherings, the world started to take notice. She wasn't just a girl with a violin anymore, she was a phenomenon. One of the most defining moments in her early rise came when she appeared on the Ellen DeGeneres show in 2019. This opportunity marked a turning point in her public profile, showcasing her not only as a skilled violinist, but also as a humble and determined individual. During the show, Karolina performed a captivating violin cover of Post Malone's Sunflower, leaving the studio audience in awe. Yet, what truly struck a chord with viewers was her innocent dream. She wanted to save up for a puppy using the tips she earned from busking. Ellen, known for her generosity, surprised Karolina with a custom blue violin and a tip jar designed just for her, helping her get one step closer to that simple but heartfelt goal. The moment wasn't just touching, it was strategic. It painted Karolina not only as talented, but deeply relatable, a young girl with big dreams and a grounded spirit. And as the video of her appearance circulated online, her popularity surged. Social media feeds flooded with clips of her street performances, and her fan base began expanding rapidly, not just across the United States, but around the world. What made her stand out among thousands of aspiring musicians wasn't just her technical skill, it was her charisma, her emotional intelligence, and the way her music seemed to speak directly to the heart of anyone listening. Italian saxophonist Daniele Vitali, impressed by her street performances, dubbed her the Busking sensation, a title that stuck as her fame began crossing borders. Soon, Karolina was no longer just a local talent or an internet curiosity. She was a brand. And like all successful brands, she diversified. She began managing 3 different YouTube channels, one for her violin covers, another for singing, and a third for her vlogs. Each platform attracted a different segment of her audience but shared the same essence: authenticity, passion, and a relentless love for music that made her impossible to ignore. As Karolina Protsenko's online presence expanded, so did the scope and scale of her musical impact. Her YouTube channels became an epicenter of global attention, drawing in millions of viewers from over 50 countries who were captivated by her ability to transform popular songs into violin masterpieces. What set her apart from the saturated pool of content creators wasn't just her skill, but the deeply emotive storytelling woven through her strings. Her renditions of hits like Despacito, Love Me Like You Do, Shallow, and Shape of You did more than reinterpret pop songs. They reimagined them through the lens of classical finesse and youthful wonder. One could argue that her cover of My Heart Will Go On was the true spark that ignited her global stardom, demonstrating how the haunting beauty of her violin could breathe fresh emotion into even the most familiar melodies. Each performance, filmed with elegance and sincerity, drew audiences into her world, a world where music transcended language and age. Her videos consistently attracted millions of views, many surpassing the 30 million mark individually, a staggering feat for any artist, let alone a teenager. But beyond the numbers was a deeper phenomenon. Karolina was helping to revive interest in instrumental music among a younger generation raised on auto-tune and digital beats. She proved that you didn't need lyrics to move people, that melody alone could speak volumes. By 2020, she had amassed a library of more than 250 violin covers, a body of work that showcased both her range and relentless dedication. Her repertoire wasn't confined to one genre. She navigated seamlessly between classical, pop, cinematic, and international tracks, reflecting a wide cultural fluency and musical curiosity. Her fans, too, were diverse, Young students, elderly music lovers, parents playing her music for their toddlers, all united by a shared appreciation for the beauty she created. And Karolina, ever humble, continued to credit her parents and music teachers for their unwavering support. The girl who once played for tips on the promenade was now one of the most watched young musicians in the world, with a digital empire growing stronger by the day. While Karolina Protsenko's music enchanted millions, her path to mastery was neither accidental nor effortless. Behind every graceful bow stroke lay years of rigorous training, persistent practice, and a family environment steeped in musical excellence. Upon relocating to the United States in 2015, Karolina wasted no time in advancing her formal education. She began taking violin lessons with instructor Mr. Sam Pfizer, a seasoned teacher who helped mold her technique and expose her to a classical repertoire. Unlike many child prodigies who burn out or fade into obscurity, Karolina embraced the discipline required to elevate her craft. She immersed herself in workshops, attended masterclasses, and frequently collaborated with other young musicians. Each step a strategic move toward refining her sound and widening her perspective. But what truly amplified her development was her openness to learning beyond structured environments. She brought the lessons of the concert hall to the streets, and vice versa, blending the purity of classical training with the raw spontaneity of street performances. The bustling promenade of Santa Monica became her favorite open-air stage, where she captivated passers-by with performances that felt intimate yet powerful. Her playing wasn't robotic or mechanical. It breathed with life, each song a story, each note a heartbeat. And as onlookers pulled out their phones to record her magic, a digital audience was born. From these viral videos emerged a new kind of performer, a classical musician with the charisma of a pop star and the entrepreneurial instincts of a digital native. But perhaps what was most compelling about Karolina's rise wasn't just the talent, it was the discipline behind the scenes. In an age where virality is often mistaken for value, Karolina grounded her success in substance. Her commitment to continual improvement, her humility in the face of fame, and her gratitude for her family's support made her not just a musician to admire, but a personality to root for. This careful balance of skill, sincerity, and showmanship became the formula that would take her from the sidewalks of California to global stages, without ever losing the soul of her artistry. By the time Karolina Protsenko entered her mid-teens, her career had already outpaced those of many adult musicians. She wasn't just building momentum, she was setting new benchmarks for what young artists could accomplish in the digital age. With over 10 million followers across platforms and a combined video view count surpassing 2 billion, Karolina's reach was not merely impressive, it was historic. Her global fan base, stretching across more than 50 countries, stood as a testament to the universal language of music and her ability to speak it fluently without uttering a word. She mastered the art of multi-platform engagement. YouTube became the core of her digital empire, but she expanded her presence smartly to Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, and Amazon Music Unlimited. Her decision to diversify was both intuitive and strategic, allowing her content to find audiences where they were most active. Unlike many viral sensations who rely on gimmicks or fleeting trends, Karolina anchored her brand in quality and consistency. Each upload, whether a cover of a chart-topping pop hit or a classical-inspired arrangement, was a carefully crafted showcase of her evolving artistry. What separated her from other content creators wasn't just the volume of her output, but the emotional authenticity embedded in every performance. Listeners felt something watching her play. They didn't just consume content, they experienced a connection. And as her channel's viewership ballooned, so did her influence. Fellow musicians began citing her as an inspiration, and parents saw her as a positive role model for their children. She became proof that fame need not corrupt talent, and that youth can coexist with discipline and grace. It wasn't uncommon to see YouTube comments written in multiple languages: Spanish, Russian, Hindi, Arabic, all expressing the same sentiment: awe, appreciation, and gratitude. In a fractured world, Karolina's music offered a rare sense of unity. No controversies, no scandals, just a violin, a smile, and an audience waiting for the next note. As her following surged and her performances matured, one thing became clear. Karolina wasn't just trending. She was building a legacy. Yet for all her success, Karolina Protsenko's story isn't just one of numbers and fame. It's one of resilience, collaboration, and emotional evolution. In 2020, she took a bold step forward in her musical journey by sharing the stage with another prodigious talent, Angelica Hale, the acclaimed runner-up from America's Got Talent. Their duet, a performance of Symphony by Clean Bandit featuring Zara Larsson, wasn't just a musical partnership, it was a collision of brilliance. The fusion of Angelica's commanding vocals and Karolina's haunting violin melodies created a tapestry of sound that left their audience in stunned admiration. What made this moment so significant was not only the flawless execution, but the shared spirit of two young artists supporting and elevating each other. Rather than competing, they harmonized in sound, energy, and purpose. The performance demonstrated Karolina's willingness to evolve artistically, stepping beyond solo arrangements and embracing the complexities of collaboration. And it was just the beginning. As her career expanded, Karolina sought out more creative partnerships, understanding that growth often lies in shared experience. One of her most notable collaborations came with Daniele Vitali, the Italian saxophonist who had once dubbed her the busking sensation. Their joint performances were met with rave responses both online and offline, and together they released a collaborative CD, blending saxophone and violin into a rich cinematic soundscape. Each new musical encounter broadened Karolina's artistic range and deepened her emotional palette. She wasn't just experimenting, she was mastering new dimensions of musical expression. What's more, these ventures showed the world that Karolina could not only hold her own among seasoned musicians, but often elevate the performance altogether. With each project, she added a new thread to her evolving narrative, not just as a violinist, but as an innovator in a space where classical and contemporary music could meet without tension. And at the heart of it all remained the same wide-eyed girl from Ukraine, now commanding stages and screens with poise, humility, and a violin that spoke louder than words ever could. If there was ever a moment that encapsulated Karolina Protsenko's journey from admirer to peer, it was her unforgettable appearance on the Kelly Clarkson Show, an episode that not only highlighted her growth as a musician, but brought her face to face with one of her greatest inspirations. During the show's filming in 2022, Karolina was initially unaware that behind the scenes, renowned violinist Lindsey Stirling had agreed to appear as a surprise guest. The setup was as heartfelt as it was strategic. Karolina, mid-interview, began discussing how deeply Stirling had influenced her musical style and inspired her to blend classical violin with performance elements like dance. As she spoke of her admiration with youthful sincerity, the stage doors suddenly opened and in walked Lindsey Stirling herself, carrying one of her signature handcrafted violins. What followed was not just a meeting of idol and fan, but of equals, two artists bonded by their love for music and mutual respect. Stirling didn't just offer encouragement. She gifted Karolina one of her violins and invited her to perform a duet live during the show's closing segment. The result was nothing short of magical. Their instruments danced in unison, harmonizing flawlessly in a moving rendition that seemed to suspend time for both the studio audience and the millions watching online. The performance stood as a living metaphor for the baton being passed, not as an end to one legacy, but as the birth of another. It also marked a turning point in how Karolina was perceived. No longer simply a gifted young violinist or YouTube sensation. She was now being welcomed into the community of professional musicians she once idolized. The joy radiating from her face during that duet was pure, unfiltered passion. It wasn't just about being seen by someone she admired, it was about being heard, recognized, and validated as an artist in her own right. And for viewers everywhere, it was a reminder of how far she had come and how limitless her future might be. Behind the spotlight and soaring melodies lies another dimension to Karolina Protsenko's remarkable ascent, her growing financial success and business acumen, which few might expect from someone so young. While many teenagers are navigating school and social circles, Karolina has quietly built a personal brand that not only funds her dreams, but also sets a precedent for digital age musicians. with her primary YouTube channel attracting nearly 10 million views per day and monthly impressions exceeding 28 million. Her advertising revenue alone generates figures that would make most seasoned influencers envious. Industry estimates suggest that for every 1,000 views, a YouTube channel typically earns between $3 to $7, which places Karolina's monthly ad income in the range of $400,000 or more, translating to a staggering annual revenue that could reach up to $3 million. And that's just one stream. She also capitalizes on other revenue avenues, including merchandise sales, live performances, digital downloads, and donations from fans who tip her through various platforms. Products bearing her brand, such as t-shirts, sweatshirts, and accessories, have become not only sources of income but emblems of her global community. But beyond the numbers, her financial growth reflects something deeper: the strategic foundation laid by her family and team to ensure her talent was matched by sustainability. In a space where young stars often burn fast and fade out, Karolina is building something meant to last. Her reported net worth currently hovers around $1.5 million and is expected to increase significantly in the coming years as her viewership expands and her ventures diversify. Notably, Karolina also continues to reinvest in her art, using her resources to acquire high-quality instruments and support collaborations that enhance her brand. She exemplifies the modern artist, not just a performer, but a self-contained enterprise capable of influencing markets and cultures alike. Her ability to turn artistry into enterprise without compromising integrity makes her a case study in how passion and professionalism can coexist beautifully, even in someone barely out of childhood. In the midst of this rapid ascent, one often overlooked element of Karolina Protsenko's journey is her emotional and psychological growth, which quietly anchors everything she's built. Fame, especially when achieved at such a young age, can be a double-edged sword, thrilling yet overwhelming, empowering yet isolating. And yet, Karolina has navigated this complex terrain with a sense of balance and maturity far beyond her years. Those close to her describe her as grounded and kind, a young woman who understands the weight of influence but doesn't let it distort her identity. Her presence on social media is notably wholesome and measured, avoiding the flashiness and excess often associated with viral celebrities. Instead of flashy stunts or manufactured drama, she shares sincere moments, family time, practice sessions, reflections on gratitude, reminding her audience that beneath the spotlight, she is still a daughter, a sister, a student. This authenticity has become her quiet superpower, even as the industry around her swells with algorithms, endorsements, and sponsorship deals. Karolina remains focused on the art itself. It's this clarity of purpose that has allowed her to withstand the immense pressures that typically derail child stars. She's not just surviving fame, she's defining her relationship to it on her own terms. Her decision to split her content across 3 separate YouTube channels, each tailored to a different aspect of her creativity, demonstrates not just a branding strategy, but a thoughtful effort to compartmentalize her identity in a healthy way. One channel for the art, one for the voice, one for the human. Moreover, her continued emphasis on family, often performing alongside her younger brothers and involving her parents in behind-the-scenes roles, serves as both emotional support and a reminder of her roots. In many ways, her rise isn't just a musical success story. It's a blueprint for growing up gracefully in the digital limelight. She is teaching her fans, whether they realize it or not, that authenticity and ambition are not mutually exclusive, and that the most powerful voices often speak softly, through string and soul. As Karolina Protsenko looks ahead, the future seems not just promising, but wide open, shimmering with untapped potential and opportunities waiting to be claimed. Her journey thus far has been marked by astonishing achievements, yet there is a growing sense that she has only begun to explore the full depth of her creative powers. Having already collaborated with iconic artists, performed on international television, and built an audience that spans continents, Karolina is now stepping into a new phase, one where she isn't just interpreting music, but shaping it. Her interest in composing original pieces, incorporating dance into performances, and potentially branching into film scores or cross-genre fusions points to an evolving artist who refuses to be boxed in. She's expressed admiration for musicians who blend visuals and sound in compelling ways, And it wouldn't be surprising to see her pursue projects that push those boundaries even further. Her growing interest in philanthropy and mentoring younger musicians also reveals a maturing sense of responsibility, a desire to give back to the communities that supported her rise. There's talk of her launching educational content, violin masterclasses, and even virtual mentorship programs, initiatives that would not only extend her influence, but reshape how young people access music education around the world. And as her financial foundation grows stronger, so does her ability to take creative risks, free from the limitations that constrain many artists her age. With a reported Stradivarius violin now among her prized instruments, Karolina has both the tools and the audience to redefine what it means to be a young, global musician in the 21st century. Her story is no longer just a tale of viral fame. It's becoming a case study in vision, resilience, and the quiet power of staying true to oneself. As of now, her net worth, influence, and reach continue to climb, but perhaps her most valuable asset is her integrity. In a world of noise, she remains a clear note, resonant, unforgettable, and rising. And if the past few years are any indication, the world hasn't seen the best of Karolina Protsenko.